Yo, what is going on, Geek Corner? This is your boy, Earth Mac, the Mad Scientist, and welcome back to the Orange Phoenix Media channel and another episode of Saturday Morning Comics, man. Listen, I know it's the second week. This is pre-recorded. Next week, next Saturday, we will be back live, man, on Saturday morning, man. You know, I had some engagements going on this weekend and the past weekend, man. The holidays is a little crazy. But one thing that I always told you, you're going to always get Saturday morning comics. All right? You already know that. You already know that, man. Already know that. All day, every day, man. I hope you guys had a awesome Thanksgiving, awesome Turkey Day. Got your fill, got your football games out the way. You know what I'm saying? My team won. Cincinnati got a dub out the deal. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, all we got to do is win out. And the other two teams, Baltimore and Pittsburgh, got to lose. And we in the postseason. And then it's clean sailing from there, man. That's what we got. That's what we got, man. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. Obviously, just like the title says, man, this is the biggest news this week, especially affecting the comic book industry as well as all others. And that is Netflix acquirement of Warner Brothers, and how would that affect DC Comics as a whole? Like, we definitely got to jump into that. Obviously, some other news passed by, some unfortunate news. Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa passed away this week, so we're definitely going to be talking about that. Also, we're definitely going to be talking about a book I've been reading, and the book I told you guys last week that I was going to jump into, and that is another Batman title, and it's Batman, The Question, and Green Arrow, Arcadia, and this is a black label. This is DC black label, and really do love that book, man. Really do love that book. I did have an opportunity to visit my LCS, right? Now, I was in Detroit. I did go to an LCS, but I didn't buy anything for me. I bought something for my nephew. And shout out to Callan. You know what I'm saying? So he never had comic books ever, right? I had a sit-down conversation with him, and I said, hey, man, did you ever had comic books? And he was like, no, I never had any. And I was like, we're going to fix that. I was feeling them out. So the next day, I went to, I think it was Timeless Travel Comics. And forgive me if I mess up the name, but I did go there. It wasn't my first time in there. I went in there and scrounged for some books, got a couple graphic novels, and then got a couple single issues, and got Street Sharks. I definitely got Street Sharks. Shout out to Stephanie Williams. Got that for him. And that's actually was the first book he said that he was going to read. He's like, yes, I'm going to read that book. That book going to get read to me at bedtime. So shout out to Callum, man. Shout out for the new readers out there, man. I think I'm going to start doing that. I think what I'm going to do is like start doing like shorts. And this is not like a concrete thing, but maybe I should start visiting LCS. And if I notice that there's a kid in there and he's really excited about comic books, just go ahead and get him a comic book, him or her, a comic book to read, and say, hey, I'm going to get this for you. Consider it a gift from me, from Orange Phoenix to you. Maybe I should start doing that. But listen, this is the holidays, and I know Black Friday done came and went. Cyber Monday done came and went. Obviously, most of us was like not shopping, like that on Black Friday or Cyber Monday or anything of that nature. But I hope you guys got your Christmas shopping out the way. I am 40% done. I'm 40% done. And I got a few more things to get, but we'll get there. We'll get there in due time, man. But look, we ain't gonna belabor the hour. We ain't gonna do all this other stuff. We're gonna jump into some geekdom news, man. First thing is Netflix acquires the WB, Warner Brothers. Now, Warner Brothers has been part of HBO Max, and you got Warner Brothers Discovery, and obviously part of Warner Brothers is DC Comics, and the other thing that is part of HBO Max is AEW, right? And a lot of people was asking the question, what's going to happen to AEW? Is it going to be on Netflix now? What's going to happen? AEW's not moving. TBS, TNT, that's part of like Discovery, and that's like separate, right? So the current deal that AEW has with HBO Max, that nothing is going to happen with that deal. But I will say though, the thing that is alarming, especially for moviegoers, for theater goers, is that they're saying that it's going to be a shorter window when it comes to theatrical releases, which is not good, right? Because to be honest with you, when it comes down to movies, like sometimes you can't go watch that movie within the 2-week time period, because it's some movies that got limited release or got limited theater showings, right? On Netflix movies, right? And you might be out for a week or 2 weeks and nobody goes to those theaters because, hey, it's going to be on Netflix later. And which is funny and clever at the same time in a diabolical way, because Netflix excuse for not putting them in theaters anymore is that people don't go to the movie theaters. See, so it's like they're proving that they're smarter than the average consumer. Like they're trying to say that we're smarter than the average consumer. Yeah, the movies will be in movie theaters, but it's going to be a limited window, and then it's going to be on Netflix or whatever the case may be. We'll see what happens. And then those said people are not going to the movie theater because, hey, why should I need to go to the movies for? It's going to be on Netflix. I'll pay a monthly premium for that, which leads to the other point. There's going to be a price increase. Okay, there's going to be a price increase. Like if you think this was it, anytime that you acquire a new entity, right? Anytime you acquire something new, there's going to be a price increase. That bitch might be $50. That thing might be $50 a month. You know what I'm saying? But this is not cut and dry. This is not final. This news has come out today, right? It got to go through like the regulatory like confirmation, like with Congress, and see if it's violating any laws or whatever the case may be. You got people from the Directors Guild that's trying to stop this. You got people from the Writers Guild that's trying to stop this because it's kicking people out of some jobs. Like there's some writers, there's accountants, there's producers, there's executive producers, there's cameramen, there's equipment, the gaff man, outside of actors and actresses, it's kind of like killing the industry in a way. And nothing has happened yet. You got to lead into 2026, and this deal can get stopped. This deal can stop, And one thing I will come and tell you is, how does it affect DC Comics? Now, according to Bleeding Cool News, it said that DC Comics, the crown jewel of Warner Brothers' intellectual property vault, has endured years of cinematic turbulence under CEO David Zaslav's cost-cutting regime. From shelved movie projects like Batgirl to a rebooted DCU spearheaded by James Gunn and Peter Safran, it is safe to say they are yet to see a return on that investment. And naturally, certain parts of the internet are already demanding that Netflix get Zack Snyder to revive the Snyderverse and give the Justice League 2 and Justice League 3 that we Snyder bronies were cruelly denied. But what of the comics? Let me put a pin in that for a second. So with this put out, I don't agree with that because, okay, I give it to you. The Snyder cut of the Justice League was really good. It was a 4-hour epic. Loved every minute of it, right? But that ship has freaking sailed, okay? For the Snyder fans that's out here, please kill that noise, man. This shit is over, all right? This thing is over. Like, Rebel Moon did not do well. Army of the Dead did do well. Army of Thieves did do well. I did enjoy both of those, but from what I understand from rumors, that is canceled too. So if you're expecting Justice League 2 or Justice League 3 to come out just to complete the story, or David Ayer's Suicide Squad, why would you go back to do that? Because be honest with you, when Man of Steel came out, we was banging with that. Wonder Woman came out, we was banging with that. Batman vs. Superman, not so much. WW84, we wasn't banging with that. Suicide Squad, it was okay. It would have been better if it was rated R. If you could have done what James Gunn did with the Suicide Squad, it would have been 10 times better. But what James Gunn and Peter Safran is doing with DCU, let that be what it is. Like, let it go. Like, Superman has been widely successful, and he's already working on Man of Tomorrow. And on top of that, he is a student of the game when it comes to reading these comics and Superman's character at his best. And to be honest with you, when it comes down to the Man of Steel, when it comes down to that version of Superman, like it's not a version of Superman, he's being worshipped as a god, but he wasn't worshipped like that in the comics unless you go into another universe. Now, if play devil advocate, if you would say this is DC Elseworlds, like this is like a totally different thing from DC, the DCU, okay, go ahead and take a crack at that. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Don't let it mess with don't let it mess with what DCU is doing, because they're cooking right now. There's got a 10-year plan on what's going on. Superman is really good. Very feel good moment, especially in today's climate. It is really good. Don't mess with that. Don't mess with that. And on top of all that, you know, there's some people that's rumored to saying that Batman 2 is going to be a Netflix premiere. you know what I'm saying? Like, no theatrical release. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. There is certain movies that is best seen in the movie theater. Best seen. I don't know what David Zaslav is doing. Obviously, profit over everything else. But fuck that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nah, bump that noise. Like Sinners. Like, imagine Sinners just showing up on streaming services, right? Yeah, it would have got a humongous buzz or whatever the case may be. But considering the nooks and cranny of Sinners and how Ryan Coogler says like it's best seen in this aspect ratio or in this camera angle or whatever the case may be, this like Sinners made it back in movie theaters, I think like 2 more times after the initial release, you know? So special screenings and whatnot, because it is best seen on the big screen. You know, Justice League, whenever there's a DC Justice League, best seen on the big screen. These movies are best seen on the big screen. Like, oh, well, we're doing a favor for you guys. We're doing a favor for the consumer or whatever. We helping you guys out. You know, instead of going to the movie theater and listening to people talk or whatever, like, control your kids. That's an easy way to do it. Control your kids. And like when I go to the movie theater, I typically go catch the matinee, and I don't really go at night like that. So for me personally, I have no issues with going to the movie theater at debut times. You know what I'm saying? But for the overall consumer though, they might not have time to do that during debut times or the next week. And now you miss out on the movie theater, and also that cuts costs for movie theaters as well. Now that's not saying the movie theaters is totally out the dark, because the food there, the concessions is expensive. You know what I'm saying? They're expensive. So when you look at the cost of going to the movie theater versus just staying at home and waiting for the release on Netflix, it's like a no-brainer in that way. You know what I'm saying? And that's one way you can look at it. But if you continue to like drop the price on concessions or whatever the case may be, cool. But I love the movie theater experience. And there's a lot of people that read comics or that have that art style thought process. They'd rather go to the movie theater. And I feel like they're going to shoot themselves in the foot when it comes to that. Now, also, it says the DC Comics publishing division was moved from New York to Burbank within the Warner Brothers headquarters. Senior staffers were cut and the publishing line was reduced. However, in doing so, it seemed to remove some of their internal blocks to success, and the publisher has seen a resurgence in 2025, especially with the Absolute line and moving stronger into the bookstore market, but with the best will in the world on a larger scale for both Warner Brothers and Netflix. DC Comics is a rounding error on their books, aside from their ownership of the Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman trademarks, all of which are set to expire over the next 10 years anyway. Social media and Reddit are already abuzz with speculation about the significant changes that Netflix could make to what is already a streamlined, stripped down, efficient DC Comics. But Netflix will have to care enough about the comics, and why would they? Losing their cricket coverage in India was a significant concern. DC Comics, not so much. Now, of course, there is one Netflix employee who might be very interested in DC Comics, a certain previously mentioned Mark Miller. Netflix acquired Miller World, making Mark Miller an exclusive work-for-hire creator of concepts for the channel, 3 of which have been adapted into TV shows. Jupiter's Legacy, which was trash. Chosen, never seen it. Super Crooks, okay. However, all 3 series ended after 1 season because nobody was watching it. And that's no slight against Mark Miller. It's just that it wasn't good. I couldn't stay vested. Me personally, I could, especially Jupiter's Legacy. I looked at it and was immediately intrigued at the poster for it, right? And so when I went to go watch that, I was like, I can't, I'm not interested. You know what I'm saying? I'm not interested. They said he already stopped Netflix from buying Valiant Entertainment. Thank God, because Valiant, woo, it's not good. It's not good. So he does have a valued role within the company. He does have that Superman story he still wants to tell. Ugh. Additionally, if Jim Lee were to ever want to exit DC Comics as its president, publisher, and chief creative officer, this will be a perfect time. With the changing of the guard, it also means he wouldn't have to finish Batman number 163 as well. Now, the thing is with Valiant is underwater. I'm just saying, Valiant is underwater. I don't even try. But Mark Miller, like with the Jupiter's Legacy, and not saying he don't tell good stories, because Jupiter's Legacy as a comic, you know, is obviously vastly different than the actual like Netflix show, because there is a superhero boom. There was a superhero boom where you had Titans, you had Arrow, you had Flash, you know, you had all these other superhero shows that's on TV, right? And then you put them on streaming services and whatnot. And then you have the comic book genre when it comes to movies and how successful that is. Some of them was misses, but the majority of them was hits. And it, you know, it is what it is. So for him being excited about the comic book industry coming over to Netflix, I understand that. But to go further, it says there is also a possibility that just as Netflix stream their own games now, they could also stream comic books. Merge DC Universe Infinite into the Netflix overall offerings to consumers. And while Netflix pledges to honor existing cinema deals, a day and date future where DC films hit cinemas and Netflix simultaneously to spike global subscriptions has to be on the cards. That is going to be 50-50. I'm gonna just say that. After all, that's what DC has been doing with the comics and comicsology for years, and edging further to that with their own all-you-can-eat comic streaming service. But the thing is, Marvel Comics' digital streaming service, Marvel Unlimited, is not available on Disney Plus yet. So investor calls may reveal more, and of course, regulatory decisions may reveal even more in the months to come. So breaking that down, okay, so I have DC Infinite, I got Global Comics, I got Kindle, Comixology, and Marvel Unlimited. I never played a game on Netflix. I never had an interest of playing a game on Netflix. For Netflix to have the DC comic book library on Netflix, I don't think they do have the bandwidth for it, but I don't know how user-friendly it will be. Just leave DC where it's at. Like, just leave DC, like, Infinite where it's at, or you can move the DC properties over to Global Comics or whatever the case may be. I mean, obviously DC, some of the DC storylines is in Global Comics, but as far as digital goes, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think with the purists, that when it comes to like TV series, movies, and properties, they're gonna start buying physical again, because at any moment's notice, Netflix can just snatch that show off the TV. They can just snatch that movie off TV because we need to move that out of the way to put new stuff here, and it might come back in a few months, but whatever. So if you don't have that property, you might be ass out. Also, when it's talking about hitting cinemas and Netflix simultaneously, I'm 50-50 on that, and I'm more to the words of disagreeing with that, because again, that goes back to my earlier point of certain movies are better seen in movie theaters. And you taking money out the theater. Like, what are you doing? And all because you saying you're trying to help us. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. You're lining your pockets. You're setting it up. You're setting it up for a spike. Because you know full well people are not going to flood the movie theaters like that, knowing full well it's on Netflix, knowing full well you're going to increase that subscription price to close to $50, $60 or whatever, because their mentality going to be like, I'm spending a monthly subscription for this shit. Why am I going out to the movie theater to spend extra money to go see this movie where I got the movie right here in my house that I already paid monthly subscription for? That's going to be the thought process. And then at that point, it's going to go from simultaneously to it's going to debut on Netflix on the small screen. So there you go. There you go with it. So from the standpoint of, it's going to take people building home theater systems in their house. That's what's going to end up being, like, more money being spent. Like with these corporations, they are greedy. They are for profit. And that last sentence about regulatory decisions, there's people that have a issue with it. Like, there are regulatory divisions that have to research this. Not all deals are finalized. This does not mean that this deal is finalized. It is going to get looked at. And just wait 6 to 9 months to see what happens with this. Just see what happens with this. This announcement got people in the spiral. I'm telling you, it got people in the spiral. But how it will affect DC Comics, very much interested in that. Like, how would it affect that? I don't foresee the digital comics from DC going to Netflix and saying, hey, we're going to add, this to Netflix and you can read it. You know what I mean? So if anything, I think it's going to push people to go to the comic book store and just buy the comics physically. I mean, for me personally, I'm starting to buy more DVDs and Blu-rays of certain series or shows that I like. You know what I mean? And not for nothing, if you look at Tubi is free 99. Yeah, you might have commercials. Cool. But there are movies out there for free 99. There's certain movies out there that you can just sit there and watch. There's certain TV shows. Hell, Nash Bridges is on there. Isn't that no Nash Bridges on there? The old school Transformers and G.I. Joe is on there. Pirates of Dark Water, Centurions is on there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure SWAT Cats will make its debut at some point or time. So it seems like it's put a monopoly on the company. It's like it put a monopoly on the industry itself, and it seems like it's unfair when it comes down to it. For take wrestling for example. Okay, for a number of years when WWE bought WCW in 2001, it had a monopoly on the professional wrestling industry, and it was to a detriment to every other company. TNA was getting close to that point, or halfway close, and then it fell, right? So now you look at AEW, which is viable competition for WWE, and WWE is doing everything in their power to pretty much put this thing in the dirt and put this company into the ground. But the difference is WWE or TKO is publicly traded. AEW, privately owned. There's a difference in that situation. And the thing is with Tony Khan and the Khan family, whenever this deal is over, obviously some other stuff is going to be renegotiated and everything else in between. We'll see what happens, whatever the case may be. But that's the thing. You do not want a monopoly on this industry, on the media industry, when it comes to Netflix and HBO Max. HBO Max is pretty much the other competition for Netflix. So when you put those two together, then the only thing you got really is Netflix, then Peacock, and Amazon Prime. Paramount Plus, kind of shaky, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So we'll see what happens. So the next thing we definitely going to be talking about is Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa passes away. And now, if you're not familiar with that name, you're definitely familiar with Mortal Kombat Shang Tsung. Okay? And if you're old school Disney original movie buff, Johnny Tsunami, yes, he was the grandpa. Yes, Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa passed away, and we got that news yesterday. Very, very, very unfortunate when it comes to that, man. Listen, he's been part of my childhood, right? He is synonymous with Mortal Kombat. He is synonymous with Mortal Kombat and Johnny Tsunami. He's synonymous with both of those. You know what I mean? And you saw, oh, by the way, he was in 12 episodes of Nash Bridges too. So to see him, like, real cool cat, real cool dude, like, just to hear his interviews and how he was able to work around with Mortal Kombat or whatever the case may be, like, really cool. And it's really upsetting. But, you know, he was 75, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, thoughts and prayers to his family and friends and everybody that had a run-in with him or talk with him or interact with him in any way, shape, or form. That was highly unexpected. That was highly unexpected, man. Highly unexpected. Now, if you are unfamiliar with Johnny Tsunami, all you got to do is go on Disney Plus. Just type in Johnny Tsunami. You would not be disappointed. One thing I would tell you about those Disney original movies was peak. Well, peak stuff. Peak stuff, man. It was a time. It was a time to be alive with Disney original movies, man. Time to be alive. That and Brink, those two movies, like my favorite two movies out of the Disney original movie line. Brink and Johnny Tsunami. Those are my joints. Oh, Phantom of the Megaplex. That's another one. That's another one. But yeah, the next thing we're definitely going to be talking about is Batman. Remember, I told you last time that Batman, Green Arrow, and The Question, Arcadia. This is a DC Black Label comic. Now, I know what you're about to say. We got a whole slew of Batman comics out here. First off, we got Arcadia. Then we got Matt Fraction's Batman. Then we got Absolute Batman. Then we got Immortal Legends Batman. Now we got Batman Night Fight, which is a DC KO event. Then on top of that, we got the regular Batman line, which is all part of All In DC. You know what I'm saying? So Batman's titles is every freaking where. Like, it's everywhere. And I wasn't going to like cover every Batman title because there's some Batman titles I haven't read. Like Immortal Legends Batman, I fell off of that. Not because I was disinterested. It's just that I didn't have enough bandwidth for that, because clearly on the channel, we cover various other comic books, and I'm not trying to oversaturate you guys with several Batman titles that's out there. Now, but I will tell you, there's the ones I am going to be covering, though. Definitely Absolute Batman and Matt Fraction's Batman. Matter of fact, Batman issue number 4 came out this week, and be on the lookout for that next week. And because we got a new villain out there, and I'm ready to get into that. But the thing is here with Batman, Green Arrow, and The Question, man. Now, this book here is really good. Now, I'm not trying to like spoil it for you, because I really want to cover this as well. I really want to cover this book. One thing I will tell you, though, my introduction to The Question was Justice League Unlimited. He was such an intriguing character to me, especially those solo episodes with, I wouldn't say solo episodes, or duo episodes. Him and the Huntress, him being conspiracy theorist, and he had stuff all over his wall. Very intriguing character, because the minute I saw him and the minute I heard him start talking, right, I immediately thought about Batman, right? I'm like, wow, like what would it be like if him and Batman would just interact with each other, right? Vic Sage and Batman. Obviously, there is The Question in DC All In, where Renee Montoya has the mantle of The Question, but this is Vic Sage. This is Vic the Sage, The Question. But not only do you get The Question and Batman, you get The Question, Batman, and Green Arrow. And Gabrielle Harmon is the writer and the artist for this book, man. And just to let you know, like this book right here, like you got Gabrielle Harmon as the writer, artist, in the cover. You got Romulo Fajardo as the colorist, and there's some variant covers. Now, shout out to Dennis Cowan, Bill Sikowitz, and Kevin Nolan, right? And I love this Black Label and the artwork, man. The artwork is real cool. The artwork got this got this noir type feel to it, and it opens up with the question, and you got this dialogue here. Now, the interesting thing about the question, and I know I'm kind of like diving into it a little bit. I don't want to get too much into it. He's not really a conspiracy theorist right here. He's more of, I need to get the facts, and I got a tip because of this situation going on, and I got to find out what exactly is going on with this tip. And the storyline goes with Victor, and then it goes with Oliver Queen, and then it goes to Batman, right? All of it is connected. By the end of the comic, you will understand exactly what I'm talking about when I explore this even further, next week. But they have one particular enemy. We don't know who the enemy is. We can speculate on what the enemy is or who the enemy is based off the evidence from issue number 1, from book 1. But I will tell you, man, looking at this, the artwork is phenomenal. Artwork is great. It got that little gritty feel to it. I do love the black labels. The black labels are really, really cool. And then, just like this line right here. And I know it's kind of covering it, but one of the lines says, "New mask is in the vat. I read your newsletter, dramatic stuff for the community reporter. A vast conspiracy, huh?" And he literally says, "I don't do conspiracies anymore. There's a logical progression of facts that have yet to reveal themselves." So, man, that's all I'm gonna give you. That's all I'm gonna give you. Artwork is amazing. Really, really, really do love this book. I read it twice. I'm reading it a third time because I'm enjoying it. And there's some books I'm going back and enjoying. And Batman Question and Green Arrow is one of those books. Now, earlier this week, if you haven't checked out our past 2 videos this week, I did the DCKO issue number 2, and I unleashed on that because that book was disappointing. Not because the book sucked, it's because of what we were advertised. And that one I was really going off about. Also, when it came out to release yesterday, this is Friday. So this release of Daredevil, Punisher, Devil's Trigger. Check out my coverage on that as well. Really, 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 really good book. This week has been really good when it comes to book releases. You got, Absolute Batman. We had, last week. Yeah, Absolute Batman, number 14. Wonder Woman Bane, definitely covering that. The Devil's Trigger with Daredevil and Punisher. And Batman Arcadia. And then Batman number 4 came out this week. So there's a bunch of other stuff that's out there. And yes, I still haven't forgotten about you guys. Mr. Terrific issue number 4. Yes, it is on the way. Definitely going to be covering that. So it can complete that playlist. Because I have it's going to be a full playlist of Mr. Terrific Year 1. And I did condense some of the videos that I've done in the past under a playlist. That way you guys can actually go check that out. So you already know what to do. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because when you do hit that notification bell, make sure you hit that drop down box that says all. Once you hit all, that way you get notified on our content live or recorded, man. Shout out to the new subscribers to this channel, and I'm glad that you guys are enjoying Saturday Morning Comics. I'm glad you guys are enjoying my content as far as comic book coverage. Go ahead and leave us comments, man. Leave me comments, because I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from the subscribers and the new subscribers, man. What kind of comments are you reading? What kind of comments are you into, man? Because there's a whole lot of goodness out there to be read, man. Whole lot of goodness to be read. So you already know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. I'm about to head out. Enjoy your guys' weekend. Be safe out there. So until next time, y'all. Peace.